And so now here we are, and we're going to do the perimeter now. But first, let's go ahead and strategize a little bit on how we're going to do this. So let me redraw this trapezoid here. And we've got 5 up here, 8 down here. We've got a straight line here, and we've got 4 right here, and then radical 20 because they're weird. Okay, so there we go. Alright, so what I'm going to do to make this easier, so what we really need is we need this side right here. We don't know what that is. We need that side. Because then we're just going to do x plus 5 plus 8 plus radical 20 and we're done. Unfortunately, it's a little tricky to do that, but we're going to go ahead and do it. So I'm going to just draw this line and create a triangle down here. So we know that this full length of this bottom is 8, and we know that the full length of the top is 5. We don't know this side, and we don't know this side. But we know that this area right here, let me just draw it right here, this area, or that length, is the same as this one, 5. So if we know this one, we can take 8 minus 5 minus this, and that will get us this one. And then once we have that, we have this length, because we know that this is 4, and then we can get x. So that's the basic strategy here. Okay, so let's go ahead and do that. So what we want to do first is, I guess we can do like A over here. So we know this one's 4, and we know, let's just call this one B. Whoops, how come I didn't like my B? B. And so now let's go ahead and find B, and then that will give us A, and then we can get x. Okay, so I'm going to move this over here, and I'm going to pull up my Word document, because I can do equations a little bit easier over here. And then I'm going to do new equation. Alright, now it's going to let me try typing my equation. Maybe. Okay, whoops, that's not what I wanted to do. Alright, so let's see, how do I change the font here? Let's change the font. Hopefully that's still readable. Alright, so first we're going to find B. So let's go ahead and say B equals, now, we know that because this is a right triangle, we can use the Pythagorean theorem. Just in case you don't remember what the Pythagorean theorem is, the Pythagorean theorem was A squared plus B squared equals C squared. Man, those are big. Let's make that smaller. There we go. That's the Pythagorean theorem. Let's see if it'll let me professional. There we go. Alright, so that's the Pythagorean theorem. A squared plus B squared equals C squared. So C squared, in this case, is that in the Pythagorean theorem, is meant to be the hypotenuse. So that would be this radical 20. So let's go ahead and just replace that with radical 20. So let's see, how can I do that easily here? So, where's my equation editor? Let's put structure, radical, there we go, radical, and we're going to put 20. Alright, so it's the square root of 20 squared, and then B is just B, and then A is 4. Okay, so that's our equation that we're going to solve. That is going to give us B over here, so let's go ahead and solve it. So, I want to copy this thing here. Copy, paste it below. Okay, so we know 4 squared, that's 16, plus B squared equals this. So radical 20, so this is the square root of 20 squared, well that's just 20. So if you take any square root and then you square it, you're going to get that number again. For example, the square root of 4 is 2, but if you square 4, or if you square the square root, so the square of 2 is 4 again. So here we are, this just reverses it. Alright, so that's 20. So then, we're going to go ahead and subtract 16 from both sides. Subtract 16 from this side gives B squared. Subtract 16 from this side gives, let's see if I can paste it down here. Paste. Gives B squared. Why did it do that? Stop it. B squared equals 4. Well, how do we get rid of that square? Well, we take the square root of this whole thing. So if I put parentheses around this, and then I take the square root of this thing, equation, how do I do square root of this thing again? Square root, radical, square root, perfect. And then I'm going to move this thing. Ah! Oh man, it's not really doing what I want to do here. Ah! Stop it! Man. Okay, that didn't work too well. This is terrible. Alright, so b squared. How come it's not letting me remove this? That's stupid. Delete, 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 delete. Ah, go away. Go away. Ah, okay. Let's try this again. Let's do equation. Man, it's going to take me like twice as long to figure this thing out. Alright, so there's square root of, well, that doesn't show up correctly. Let's do this. Okay. Hopefully you guys know what I'm actually trying to do here. So b squared. That's what I'm trying to do. Professional. There we go. Is that what I was trying to do? Yes. Okay. So we have b squared equals 4, and so I'm going to take the square root of both sides. And so now I got to take the square root of this side too. This 4. So I'm going to do the square root over here. So where's my equation thing? Square root of 4. That doesn't really look pretty. Let's try it again. Square root of 4. There we go. Okay. So that's the next stage. And then let's go ahead and just solve that. So the square root of b squared, just like we said already, it's going to be just b. And then the square root of 4 is 2. Boom. Done. All right. So b over here, we know that this thing, this thing, how do I get rid of it? That thing is actually 2. And we could test that. So we could say that 4 squared is 16, plus 2 squared is 4, is 20, and so then that would be a square root of 20. Okay, so we know we're right there. So that's 2. We know that this one is 5. So if this is 5, this is 2, then this one, if this whole thing adds up to 8, this is 2, over here, this is 5, then this one must be 1. Alright, so we know that's 2. We know that that is 5. And so then this one over here must be 1. Boink. Alright. Well, if that's 1, and this is 4, now we can calculate x. So let's go ahead and calculate x now. So we've got our Pythagorean theorem again. And we know that 4 squared, so this is this side, plus b squared, well here we know it's 1, equals c squared. Well, in this case, x squared. Okay? So that's 4 squared plus 1 squared should equal x squared. So let's go ahead and solve this. So this is 16 plus 1 equals x squared. So let's go ahead and paste that in here. Oops. So 16 plus 1 equals x squared. Make it professional. Professional. It's not doing professional. Alright, it doesn't like me anymore. Professional. There we go. Okay, so 16 plus 1 equals x squared, or 17 equals x squared. And then, just like in the previous part, we're going to take the square root of this side and the square root of this side. So, we take the square root of this side, we just get x. We take the square root of this side, and we're going to get equation. Let's see, is it going to let me do it this time? Okay, let's do radical, point. There we go. Square root of 17. Okay, so now we have this. So let's go ahead and get rid of that, and then write square root of 17. Okay? And so now, let's go ahead and just add these things up. So we've got over here, so let's remove all these, and then insert another equation here. So now we've got square root of 17. Yeah, how come it's not doing my insert? Where's my equation? Insert equation. There we go. Alright, so we've got so we've got the bottom, so we've got 1 plus 5 plus 2, so 1 plus 5 plus 2, which we really know is 8. So 8 plus 5 plus, we've got that radical 20, so 20 to the 0.5. I don't know if that's actually going to, that's probably not going to get displayed right. Let's just do it this way. Okay, plus 17, and then plus, and then we're going to do the same thing, but it's going to be 20. 20. There we go. And so that's going to be our perimeter. This side plus this side plus this side plus this side. Okay? And so then we can probably just use our calculator to figure out this one. So let's go ahead and see what this is, because I don't know what these are. So this is going to be 13, right? And then plus those two. So what is the square root of 17? So 17 square root is 4.12. 4.12-ish. And then let's do 20 square root is 4.47-ish. So 4.47. And then we can add those up. So 4.47 plus, 4.47 plus 4.12 plus 13 equals 21.6, let's say. Equals 21.6. And there's our answer. Boom. So the perimeter is 21.6. Alright, and so then that was the perimeter. A little bit complicated, but very doable. Just have to know the equation for, or the formula for area of a trapezoid, and then you have to remember your Pythagorean theorem so that you can get those missing sides, and then that's pretty much it. Okay, so that's it for this one too.